Hello everyone, my name is AwesomeGuy4000. Thank you for deciding to take the time to even consider watching my video. If you would like to support the channel and help me get to my goal of 1,000 subscribers before August, a sub would be highly appreciated. Now without further ado and not to waste your time with the intro any further, let's get right into quite possibly the best season of Fortnite, Chapter 2 Season 2. Think back to Chapter 2 Season 1 for a moment, one of the most commonly accepted boring seasons of Fortnite ever. December 19th, 2019 was the original set date for the release of Chapter 2 Season 2, but in typical Chapter 2 Season 1 fashion, Chapter 2 Season 2 got delayed by 2.5 months. By the time the season was released, the Fortnite fanbase was starving for new content, and Chapter 2 Season 2 delivered. Not to mention that the season basically started right when the pandemic started, so everyone was locked down in their homes, making gaming a direct go-to for fun. Now, Chapter 2 Season 2 was a very unique season for Fortnite at that time. It introduced many game changers that we still see in Fortnite to this day, such as henchmen, bosses, and boss weapons. The map changes in this season weren't overwhelming like the massive biome map changes we're used to, but the new locations that were added this season had so much personality that was perfectly fine. The Yacht, Fortnite's first ever on-water location, a massive boat owned by Midas, which I'll get to later, where the Meowscles boss could be found that upon death will drop a mythic AK and a keycard to a vault at that POI. That was another big draw to the season. Dropping down at each of these new locations, you had something to work for, and if you got it, you would get a big advantage moving forward in that game, like the vault. You could only get into it with the keycard, obviously, and when you did, you could get stacked with loot and heals. That, along with the mythic you got, you were on a path to victory. The only players you would have to worry about outclassing you would be the other players that won their locations, which there would only be 5 of. Those other locations would be the Rig, the Grotto, the Shark, and the Agency. The Rig being another one of Fortnite's first on-water POIs that you could fight TNT to get a mythic boom bow. The Grotto location was Fortnite's first entirely cave POI, which people loved so much they would not shut up about it returning until Fortnite eventually added a covert cavern to Chapter 3 to give us that same vibe. Even then though, it didn't live up to the Grotto. At the Grotto you could fight Brutus for a mythic minigun and it shredded through builds and enemies in an insane rate. By the way, throughout all of these locations there were henchmen, NPCs that would act as guard to the boss of the location. If you killed them they would drop guns and heals, but if you inspected them when they were down you could actually perform a shakedown, which would reveal to you the surrounding loot and players. The Shark was a mansion on a tropical island with a big shark formed on the main cliff that could be entered to get into the POI. There you could fight Sky for a mythic Scar and Grappler. The Scar was just a buff Scar with the higher player and structure damage as well as a higher fire rate. The Grappler functioned as a normal grappler, however it had infinite uses and you could redeploy your glider with it if you really wanted to. Finally, we have the Agency, which is one of the most iconic locations in Fortnite history. In the center of the map on an island you could fight Midas, the main character of the season, for a mythic drum gun, which at the time was one of the most OP guns in Fortnite history. Everyone wanted to get this gun, making the Agency a hot drop every single game, making for a very fun and chaotic early game that would leave you with a lot of kills if you managed to come out alive with the open vault and mythic drum gun. Overall, the Fortnite community loved the new meta and gameplay loop with the mythics. The addition of the bosses and the henchmen made the map feel more alive and gave players more of an objective early on in the game. Even then, if you win over a location, your next goal is to get more mythics from other players that did as well, so you have a higher chance of winning the game. Any semblance of Fortnite dying content suddenly vanished, since it was obvious the game was popping off to a level it hasn't seen in a long time from this season, both from successful innovation and the influx of players due to the pandemic. Still to this day, on Fortnite GG, Chapter 2 Season 2 sits at the #1 spot in terms of fan enjoyment. This season actually did even more than just innovating on the gameplay, however. Chapter 2 Season 2 is the first season to have a full-on interactive 3D battle pass screen. You can look at a hologram of the map on a table to view and track quests, learn information about the storyline of the season, which I'll get into later, view the rooms of each of the battle pass characters, build your custom Maya skin that you get in the battle pass, view a secret Deadpool collab room, and of course, view the battle pass. This is a feature that Fortnite continued shortly after this season, but never to the same extent that Chapter 2 Season 2 did. Midway through Chapter 2, Epic gave up on the idea and we haven't seen it since, but fans still to this day want to see a 3D battle pass screen again. Speaking of the battle pass though, this season introduced many iconic skins to the game, the most iconic being Midas. Midas is so iconic in fact that he has several reskins, a mode inspired by him, and still to this day is involved in the Fortnite storyline. Meowscles is another iconic meme skin that was added in this battle pass. He also has a lot of reskins and skins that parallel him. The Agent Pilly skin was added, which in itself isn't anything crazy, but if you got to level 350, you would be able to have a fully golden Agent Pilly skin. People grinded like crazy for the fully golden style, and very few people have it to this day, so if you have it, it's definitely a flex. Maya was added, which like I stated earlier is Fortnite's first fully customizable skin. TNT, Sky, and Brutus these days are a little bit more obscure, but they were still in the battle pass and had their fair share of reskins too. The overall theme of the season was Top Secret, a spy theme, and as far as the storyline goes, more specifically a war between two spy factions, Ghost and Shadow. which are really just the Battle Pass characters but alter egos of each other. The Ghost team was seen as the good guys and the Shadow team was seen as the bad guys. As the season marched closer and closer to the end, however, Shadow would eventually overpower every location besides the agency, leading up to the season's end event, the Doomsday event. Midas throughout the season has been building up a Doomsday device under the agency, speculated to be powered by the Zero Point that was also under the agency island. It wasn't confirmed until Chapter 2 Season 4's end event, but that would turn out to be the case. Midas wanted to end the loop. Naming the device a Doomsday device is misleading. Instead of the Doomsday device like we see in Chapter 3 Season 2, one that is built purely to actually bring Doomsday to the island, Midas' Doomsday device sets to push back and eliminate the storm so that the island is no longer forced in this constant loop, bringing a Doomsday to the storm. When the Doomsday device was fully charged and ready to go, Midas activated it, destroying the agency in order to lift it out from underground. It then used energy provided to it by conductors to charge up and push back the storm. After a long fight, it eventually was able to push back the storm. However, throughout this process, something weird would happen. 3 times throughout the event, our screen goes white and we enter first person in a random office, hearing someone outside of it talk in a panic. The character is revealed to be Jonesy, which is a member of the Imagined Order, the people that used to be in control of the Zero Point and Islands. Jonesy ever since has played a pivotal role in the Fortnite storyline, mostly in Chapter 2, however. It's still not explained why we were in Jonesy's office in the first place or why it was a shock that we could hear him, but whatever that was, it most likely got retconned. One thing you need to understand about the storm though entering and leaving this event is that the storm is something the Zero Point uses to enforce the loop in order to protect itself. The Zero Point is sentient and aware of the power it holds and the things like Galactus that will try to get it for its power. To stop this, it creates the storm and loop as a defense mechanism. So, when Midas' device worked, the storm responded by using the ocean as an enforcer for the storm instead, causing a flood for next season's theme. Overall, this season for a lot of players provides a bit of a strange nostalgia for that time in lockdown, where all they could do is get online and play with their friends on Fortnite, myself included. Playing this season back in 2020 was a very fun time, especially with friends. Me and the boys would just hop on squads what felt like every day and just drop dub after landing at the agency, stacked with the best loot in the game. I even remember one time while playing with my friends, we did the 4 quarters challenge and we actually ended up winning that game. The gameplay loop and mythic balance of Chapter 2 Season 2 is something that season got perfect and also something that we haven't really seen to that extent. It was the perfect season for the perfect time. Not to mention that this is the season that the Travis Scott concert happened in, which blew a lot of people away and set the bar for future potential virtual concerts. Also, Chapter 2 Season 2 did actually end up getting extended by 5 weeks, but this time around, unlike Chapter 2 Season 1, people actually weren't complaining. They liked it and they wanted the season to last longer. They didn't care. There was also a push for the season to be longer because people wanted to grind for the golden styles you only got for leveling up like way above level 100. Let me know what you thought about Chapter 2 Season 2 in the comments, if you played it, if you didn't, if you played Chapter 2 Remix and got a taste. Also, as one last reminder, if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. I only have about 2 weeks left to gain 163 subscribers, but with all your guys' help, I think we can do it. I hope you enjoyed the video and peace out.